Hi, I'm Aaron from Revit Auto, and today we're going to be working on a 2014 Subaru Crosstrek, and we're going to be replacing the front and rear brakes. So I'm pretty excited today because instead of using a regular floor jack, we have the QuickJack system, which is basically a mobile lift that we can just slide right underneath the car and jack up any car anywhere. Alright, so we have our QuickJack pump right here, and then we have our controller right here, just up and down. And then this cord just plugs into a regular old outlet. And then we have the two hydraulic ports right here. So here's our hydraulic hoses. We have 4 fittings, 2 for the hydraulic rams on the QuickJacks, and 2 to go straight into the pump. Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and connect the male end into the female end, just like that. Do it on the other side, and then hook it up into the pump the same way. Alright, so we're just going to take the hoses, just like so. Wait for the click. Now we're all set up. Alright, so now that we have the car lifted up off the ground and our wheels are free and clear, we're going to go ahead and remove the lug nuts and remove the rear wheels with a 19mm 1/2" socket. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and remove the rear caliper from the caliper bracket, and I have a 14mm socket here. We're going to remove this bolt, and then there's one down low that we're going to remove. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and remove the caliper now that we have our bolts out. We're just going to set it up off to the side so it's not hanging or can fall. Alright, so now we're going to remove the brake pads. Just pull them out just like so. Just like so. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and replace our factory brake pad shims, which are here and here. We're just going to take a regular flat blade screwdriver, put it in here, pry upwards, just get them to pop out, just a little bit of clips that hold them in. And we're just going to dispose of those. Same thing with the top. And now we're just going to go ahead and install our new brake pad shims. These are just going to sit in here like this. Just going to push them down so they're completely flat. Alright, so we're going to install our brake pads, but first I'm going to show you guys which brake pads go where and how they are. Alright, so this brake pad, which has no brake pad sensor on it, is going to go on the outside of the brake rotor, and this brake pad has the wear indicator on it, so this is going to be on the inside against the brake caliper. So what I mean by the outside is that this brake pad without the indicator will go here on this side of the brake rotor, and the one with the indicator is going to go on this side of the brake rotor. And here is the indicator on the brake pad. So I got some brake pad grease, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put some grease where the brake pad rides on the brake pad shims. Just like this, just a nice light coat, making sure I don't get any on the brake pad material. Flip it to the other side, do the same thing. And then now we can go ahead and put it in our brake caliper bracket. So now we're going to install our brake pad into our caliper bracket. And just like that, it is seated all the way. And now we can go ahead and install the inside brake pad. And as a pro tip, anytime you're working on brakes and you have a nice surface that you don't want to ruin with brake dust, just put a piece of cardboard down. If you got brake rotors and you're installing new brake rotors, you can cut open the brake rotor box and set that down. That way you don't stain your driveway or your garage floor. Alright, so we're going to decompress our brake caliper, which is pushing the caliper piston inside of the caliper. And I have this special tool here where you just squeeze the lever and it decompresses for me. If you don't have this tool or don't have access to this tool, you can always use a big set of pliers or a big C-clamp. And if you have a dual piston caliper, you can always take one of the old brake pads and push them all in at the same time. Alright, and the final step, we're going to reinstall our caliper. So get your 14mm bolts ready. We're just going to line the holes up, get our bolts started, go ahead and tighten them down, and then just repeat the same steps for the opposite side. Alright, now it's time to do the front brakes. We're going to go ahead and remove the wheel. Alright, so now we're on the front brakes, and it's very similar to the rear brakes. The only differences are going to be that instead of one brake caliper piston, there's two, and the caliper bracket bolts are slightly larger, probably like a 17 or 18 millimeter, but our caliper bolts to our bracket to remove the caliper are 14 millimeter as well. So now we're just going to go ahead and remove these bolts. Alright, so when you're installing your new brake pad shims and your new brake pads, you want to notice that you get two different types of brake pad shims. One with these long fins that come off the back, and then ones that don't have them at all. And then if you notice, you get two different brake pads. So these are facing the same directions, but two of them have them on this side and two of them have these on this side. So what you'll notice with your old ones is that this is the design of the brake caliper on the outside of the rotor, and this one has the caliper pistons marked on the back. So you'll see that this is facing downwards and this one is facing downwards. So this brake pad shim with the long fins is going to be on the bottom side on the front right. So that's it for the front brakes. So if you need to do it on the other side, just repeat this step on the other side. Alright, and that's the last wheel. Now we're all done. Now we can take the QuickJacks and go ahead and lower them. Alright, that concludes our brake job on our 2014 Subaru Crosstrek with the front and rear brake pads, and testing out our new QuickJack system. And don't forget to pump your brake pedal after doing any sort of brake work. Happy motoring!